Hi, I'm Anthony McCluskey and I work with butterfly conservation in Scotland. I'm one of the conservation managers, which means I work on the priority species of butterflies and moths, which are our most rare species and the ones which are under threat and which really need our help. Today I'm going to be talking about how we can help the Pearl-bordered Fritillary Butterfly. It's one of our rare species now and we've lost around 95% of their populations across the UK, so it's one which really needs our help. So the Pearl-bordered Fritillary is mostly orange on the upper wings, orange with black markings, and on the lower wings you've got a series of white pearly marks and like a series, a kind of a mosaic effect of yellow and red markings as well. It's very similar to the small Pearl-bordered Fritillary, so they're almost identical on the upper wings, except on the lower wings there are some differences in the markings, with the small Pearl-bordered Fritillary having more black markings than the pearl-bordered. They also fly at slightly different times of year. Pearl-bordered Fritillary comes out mostly around May, and small Pearl-bordered Fritillary comes out about 2 weeks later, so into June and even sometimes into July. The more widespread of the species is the small Pearl-bordered Fritillary. It can be found in damp grasslands and in sunny hillsides because it can feed upon marsh violets or dog violets, whereas the Pearl-bordered Fritillary is a much rarer species. It's quite restricted in its habitat needs. So the Pearl-bordered Fritillary comes out and flies in May for about 2 to 3 weeks usually. Then the females will lay their eggs upon dog violets, which is one of the commoner violets in drier habitats. The caterpillars then will feed through the summer, and around this time of year, so you can see here today it's quite wintry today. At this time of year the caterpillars just go to the base of the plants. They'll hide among the bracken and they'll stop feeding altogether. Then they'll come out again in springtime and they'll begin to feed, and that's when the bracken is also really useful too, because the bracken becomes very warm in the springtime and that helps the caterpillars to warm up and to digest their food. Then those caterpillars will form their chrysalises and they'll fly around May or June. So the butterfly prefers bracken covered hillsides, mostly south facing hillsides with some tree cover nearby. The tree cover can give some protection from the wind and allows the habitat to warm up a bit. But with respect to the bracken, if there's too much bracken, the butterflies just can't cope with that. The violets don't come through, but if there's not enough, then the butterflies can't heat themselves up either. So it's just getting a certain amount. And the bracken cover we have here is just about right for this butterfly. So like many butterflies, the Pearl-bordered Fritillary has caterpillars which will only eat certain plants. The main caterpillar food plant in Scotland is the common dog violet, which is one of the ones which you'll find in drier habitats. In some cases, bracken can become too thick in cover, and that can really be detrimental to the butterfly because the bracken litter becomes so deep that the violets just can't grow through it anymore. So it's very important that in farmland we have some disturbance of the bracken. That can either be through manual or chemical control, but even better if farmers can use livestock to create some of the disturbance to break down the litter. That will help the violets to come through and the butterfly can then thrive. So farmers can find out about the Pearl-bordered Fritillary and managing land for it by looking up the Butterfly Conservation website. We have a special leaflet called Bracken for Butterflies, which will help farmers know how to manage the bracken just right, and they can also find out more information on the FAS website.